Oil giant BP plays down the future of fracking as scientists stress more research is needed into the controversial technique.
I'm a fighter. I can take a punch. I live. I learn something every day. I strike when I need to strike. I prepare. I've earned everything I have. If I fall, I get back up. I won't be underestimated. I'm Aaron Aid, and I put the boom into boom bust.
Hello there, welcome back to RT International. Libya is sounding the alarm over the threat raised by Islamic State. Tripoli is asking the UN Security Council to lift an arms embargo to let it fight the jihadists. The country emerged as a terrorist hotbed after Libyan loyals to Islamic State released a video showing the mass execution of Egyptian Christians there. These are the relatives of some of those 21 people who were beheaded by the jihadists. The situation in Libya has deteriorated since NATO launched airstrikes there in 2011. But the alliance's chief says it shouldn't be blamed for the chaos.
It's not only NATO responsibility. There are many different international organizations that I think all see now that there should have been more presence after the military operations ended in 2011.
At the moment, only about half of Libya is controlled by the elected government then, just here in the green. There's also a rival assembly which was set up after an armed group took over the capital last summer there in the yellow. Parts of the country marked here, though, in the grey, the bottom and the top just here, though, is controlled by the jihadists. And these up here are the cities in the north where Islamic State forces are active at the moment. Now, Tripoli is now asking for weapons, but political activists and analysts, I should say, Chris Banbury, he thinks that this will not help the country. He says it's actually collapsing.
So the problem is not lack of arms. The problem is the lack of any set of real government in Libya. The Libyan government controls virtually nothing in this country and is having to call upon the Egyptians to carry out airstrikes in its support. This is a consequence of a NATO intervention which has been disastrous. The country, since the overthrow of the Gaddafi regime, the country just simply splintered into various fragments, many of which, not just Islamic State, but other al-Qaeda type groups as well, control swathes of territory. I think the West, in a sense, have got no interest in building up a stable government in Libya. In a sense, they are quite happy to have a fairly chaotic situation. They've removed the Gaddafi regime like they'd like to remove the Assad regime in Syria. They're removing what they regard as obstacles, opponents of Israel. And I think we have to say, tragically, that further Western intervention into Libya would just add to the troubles in that country.
A fireball has blazed a trail over northeast America, with dozens reporting the sighting. On our website, you can check out the video of the space rock that flared brighter than a full moon before disappearing from view. Also there for you, the internet community lambasts US war may be facing one obstacle: a lack of arms. Some of the alliance's troops had to use unusual props to substitute real guns during September's war games in Norway. Anissa Naue takes a look in her show.
A German convoy reportedly traveled to Norway for NATO war games armed with broomsticks. Yes, you heard correctly, broomsticks. Quite surprising given NATO's reputation of a military giant with rule-the-world ambitions. Germany admitted the shortage of arms and said that there was at least one broomstick. 41% of the soldiers reportedly lacked pistols and 31% machine guns were missing. I wonder how they'd use these broomsticks. Maybe like this? Oh, sorry, they said pistols and machine gun substitutes.
The UK's oil and gas giant BP has wound back its prospects for the fracking industry. The company says there is unlikely to be any significant shale gas production in Britain in the foreseeable future. RT spoke to Richard Davies. He's a researcher at Newcastle University who's been studying the effects of fracking. He says that the potential risks of the technology have not been examined, though.
Fracking can cause small earthquakes, and fracking itself hasn't caused water contamination, but drilling wells poorly in America has caused instances of water contamination. So these questions are very important. The questions we've raised is that if you do go ahead and drill a lot of wells, we need to make sure we're clear on who owns those wells, not while the operator's there, but in the decades to come once the operator's gone. And we need to do the independent research that makes sure and ensures that we know exactly what we're doing and we're well prepared for the future.
But for some in the UK, shale gas is already not an option and they want their voice heard. Mark Berry and his girlfriend staged a 7-day bed-in protest at a London hotel to draw attention to fracking in the country. The action that ended this week seems to have been inspired by the similar protest by John Lennon and his wife Yoko Ono against the Vietnam War in 1969. All right, moving on then. An explosion at the oil refinery in California has injured 4 workers. The blast occurred at a processing unit and was followed by ground fire. The local fire department and the refinery are conducting air monitoring tests to detect harmful emissions. Owners ExxonMobil promised to investigate the blast as its cause is yet to be revealed. Defying torrential rain, huge crowds turned out to honour Argentinian prosecutor Alberto Nisman, who was found dead in his apartment last month. Nisman was investigating the government and Argentina's deadliest terror attack, the 1994 bombing of the Jewish centre one. The cause of his death is still unknown, but activists say that the president and other high-ranking officials are implicated in the case. The leader of the Bolsonaro denounced the accusations and branded the unrest as an attempted coup. An attack on a Shia mosque has left at least 3 people dead and wounded several others in the Pakistani capital. According to witnesses, the gunman opened fire at guards and then tried to enter the mosque before blowing himself up. Another attack on a Shia mosque killed more than 20 people on Friday. Coming up here in RT International, we tell you why residents of Denmark's most remote islands are being labelled the last barbarians of Europe. Stay with us for that.